Welcome to another edition of The Way I See It with your host, Ralph Williams. And now, without further ado, Ralph Williams.
Yeah, you ass better call somebody. All right, welcome to another edition of The Way I See It. I am Ralph Williams. It's great to be here tonight. It's another Monday night of. We have a lot to talk about tonight, including our blast segment, Bonehead segment. Oh yeah, my life story. And we have the election edition tonight. We're going to talk about the election. And I have a ton to talk about tonight right here on The Way I See It. Oh, yeah, tonight. And don't forget also, tomorrow night we have Sports Corner tomorrow night. Great show coming up tomorrow with myself and Smoking Jim Frazier. We will be talking about the situation with the Penguins where they have the GM search. I have Matt Vensel coming on from the Post-Gazette tomorrow night. Avi Greenwald from Miami coming on tomorrow to talk about the Dolphins draft and more. Also tomorrow, so that's at 8:30 p.m. right here on your four platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. All right, tonight we have our Chinese wisdom. Let's get started with that. And our Chinese wisdom says, and here we are, and it says, oh, hold on. I forgot my glasses tonight. How's that? Accept the challenges that you may feel exuberant victory. So there you are. There is tonight's Chinese wisdom right here on The Way I See It. If you're a first-time watcher of the program, we do a Chinese wisdom. I have a blast segment, Bonehead. I also have a life story, a ton to talk about tonight. I have so much to talk about. We might go 2 hours tonight. That's how much there is to talk about tonight right here on the program. All right, let's talk about our sponsors. We're in the DJ Fun studios here. DJ Fun, call them today, 412-545-4317. DJ Fun, one of the best DJs in town. Don't forget 412-545-4317. Graduation parties coming up. Also proms, all kinds of things coming up, all kinds of events. How about giving DJ Fun a call today? Once again, at number 412-545-4317. Weddings and special events as well. Also, our other sponsor, Hillcrest Farm. Hillcrest Farm is in Richmond, Ohio. Call them today. You can call them at 740-346-5442, 740-632-2894. Hillcrest Farm is a farm that has meat and ground meat, and it's hay grain. And I tell you what, it's fresh ground beef, and it's some of the best ground beef steaks, roasts that you can find. Call them today for prices. Also, you can find them on their email, hillcrestfarmsohio@gmail.com. Check out their website, www.hillcrestfarmsohio.com, and also on their Hillcrest Farm Facebook page as well. Right here on The Way I See It, our sponsor, Hillcrest Farm, is in Richmond, Ohio, 45 minutes from Steubenville, Ohio. Not a far drive at all. Don't forget about Draft 412, our other sponsor for the program. Draft 412 is a website, and you could get on it for $9 a month, and I mean $9 a month, literally. And they have everything about every kind of draft: NHL, baseball, NBA, football. We just I had Joe Kuglis on here for a draft show and a post-draft show from Draft 412 to talk about the NFL draft, and he'll be back on to talk about the NHL draft, to talk about the baseball draft, who the Pirates going to draft, who are the Penguins going to draft. But tomorrow night, we're going to find out exactly where the Penguins are going. We're also going to talk about Bob Huggins tomorrow night as well, the West Virginia basketball coach. I could not get anyone on our show from West Virginia. Nobody would come on to talk about it. I asked the prominent reporters. Nobody would come on to talk about Bob Huggins on this program. So we're on the Sports Corner program. Myself, Smoking Jim Frazier, tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Also, don't forget Wednesday night at 7:30, Talking Wrestling, myself, Smoking Jim Frazier. We have a ton to talk about on Wednesday night. WWE news galore, AEW stuff coming up, all different types of stuff. And don't forget Thursday night, Also on Blog Talk Radio, 347-205-9631, the wrestling and sports talk show, along with myself, Smoke, and Jim Frazier, Mark Mancini, and that's Blog Talk Radio. And don't forget, Friday, 5 p.m., the External Bum podcast with myself, Mark Mancini, Avi Greenwald, and possibly Joe Kuglis. We'll be talking about bums in sports and all kinds of other sports as well. All right, let's get into our blast segment tonight. I want to talk about the 61 people who just got convicted for welfare fraud. You know what? There's something wrong with you when you actually are involved in welfare fraud. Don't you have enough? I mean, that you have to commit welfare fraud. And you received a ton of money from the COVID-19 nonsense, from COVID. Okay, you received all kinds of money, all kinds of benefits, all kinds of everything. And what had happened was you still didn't think it was enough. So 61 people just got convicted. And you know what? I am happy you got convicted. And I hope that you will learn that I'm blasting you tonight, because when it comes to the welfare and the elderly and the senior citizens and stealing from other people like that, I have a problem with that. That tonight is the way I see it. All right, next is the guy who shot and killed the bald eagle in Mount Pleasant Township, Washington County. Now, why does this have something to do with me? Because I grew up out there. I worked out there at a camp out there in Mount Pleasant Township. Okay, and I have a lot of what do you call heart and soul into that area. Okay. And I still have some connection with that camp out there. And when you go and you shoot a bald eagle who has done nothing to you, and a bald eagle is a endangered species and is on that list that you don't shoot and kill bald eagles. All right. And you go ahead and you do that. That's when I have a problem, especially when you do it in a community that I have a lot in common with. All right. That tonight is the way I see it. All right. Next, the woman who yelled and screamed at an employee at the hold on a minute, here we go, who screamed at a military lady who had no legs and parked in a handicap spot. Literally screamed at this military lady who was once in the military. She has no legs, and this person goes ahead and screams out. All right. Why? Why would you scream at a military person who has no legs, that didn't have a handicap placard, okay, but parked in a handicap spot because that person has no legs, is in a wheelchair? And you're going to scream and holler at this person for this? A person who went to battle for your freedom. And this is what you did. That tonight is the way I see it. All right. Next. We're going to talk about the people who are complaining about fracking. You know, there's a bunch of people out there who do nothing but complain about fracking. All right. They complain about fracking. They complain about natural gas. They complain about all of that. All right. But have you forgotten about what fracking has done in this state to the financial situation of the state? It has made lower property taxes. It has put together something for all the different communities who have received jobs, and not only just good paying jobs. Okay. And I don't want to hear no more about, it's destroying our water. Well, Range Resources, and I know this for a fact because I know somebody who has taps on their property, okay, out in Mount Pleasant Township, out in Washington County, that collects money from natural gas, and their water has never been affected by it. And Range Resources even helped them build a sterilizing waterworks for their property. Okay. All right, so I don't want to hear any more from any of you about this fracking stuff, because that's why I'm blasting you tonight, because it does make, and if it wasn't for fracking, the new airport would never be able to be built. And the airport that we have currently would have went bankrupt. Okay, so continue to scream and holler about fracking, and that tonight is the way I see it. All right, do your homework before you open your mouth. My homework is I did my homework, and fracking is not affecting water supplies. All right, because fracking has helped communities, has done a lot for our airport, has done a lot for many different, has created a lot of good paying jobs. At one point, they didn't have enough people around here for the jobs. They had to truck people in from Arkansas, Alabama, and Texas, and all these other places to help with this. Okay? That doesn't have to happen anymore because there are jobs now being created here. All right? And that tonight is the way I see it. All right. I want to blast the kids who vandalized, talk about the kids who vandalized those. Now it comes to my attention that it was a woman that was involved in this vandalizing of these signs of those school district people out in Pine Richland. All right. Now, this was all about a woman who was frustrated with one of them because they had an affair that went down, an affair that went bye-byes. Okay. So explain to me why you would go around and spray paint or hire some kid or give some kid $10, $20, $50, whatever you gave this kid to go around with you, get himself in trouble and be able to go around with you and spray paint all over these school district people's signs. And that tonight is the way I see it. And I'm blasting you for that. And now the police have you. They have an idea who you are, and your attorney now and you have egg on your face because now you have to come through with this nonsense as well. All right. All right, next, we're going to talk about, or we're going to blast tonight, all right, some other people here. And I want to blast some people up in the Hill District. All right, the Hill District, I have no issues with nobody in the Hill District. But what I have a problem with is when you complain all the time about the development up in the Hill District. They are developing everything that you want on the Civic Arena site. They're putting up 99 brand new homes up on Bedford dwellings, okay? And now you're complaining because they want to develop the Granada Theater to bring people to the Hill District so that they can watch a show or a movie. All right. They're doing that. And guess what? You are complaining up there in the Hill District yet again. All right. And it's the same people all the time that are complaining about this stuff. Instead of complaining about this stuff, why don't you do something and help the police out and investigate some of this violence and crime that's going on up there? And that tonight is the way I see it. All right, next, our boneheaded segment. The woman in the Walmart checkout, all right, who tried to buy some gift cards and try to use the self-checkout to do it and got caught. Boy, what a bonehead that was. All right. Next, the guy at the BJ's Wholesale in Florida who was involved in a scandal with credit cards. Wow, what a bonehead that was. He got caught too. All right, the clerk in the Lakeville section of Illinois, who was involved in a checkout scam, another one involved in a checkout scam in Lakeville, Massachusetts, who tried to cash checks and was involved in some kind of a scam with a clerk. Wow, wonderful. That's another boneheaded move. All right, next, the lady who caused a fire at a Beachview home and was had oxygen on and caused a fire with oxygen because she was smoking. All right, that's our bonehead segment tonight right here on The Way I See It. Real quick, we're into the comment section. LOL, thank you from A Dodger and HH Radio Live. Thank you for your service. Well, I'm not a military person, so you don't have to thank me for it. But the lady who had no legs and the lady who was screaming at her in a parking lot of a Walmart should be ashamed of herself for doing that just because she didn't have a handicap placard. All right, my life story tonight. I had to get some new equipment. Apparently, my equipment that I had kind of went kaboom. So, it went kaboom. And what had happened was I had to go get some new equipment. So I had to order it online. I had to get it here right away. And it kind of put a little dent in my budget. But you know what? I needed to get the new equipment to put this program and several other programs that I do here that you appreciate out here on the, these podcasts and everything else. So I had to do that this week. And I want to tell you, I'm dealing with a company, and I'm not going to mention any names. So the company has some of my equipment that I originally ordered that after this equipment went down. Well, here they failed to tell me it was on back order. That's the first thing they failed to do. Okay. The second thing they failed to do was they failed to tell me why it was on back order. Well, here they told me that there was some issues with some of the equipment. And it turns out it has to do with the headsets. Okay. So I had to go buy this headset, this microphone, and another new mixer from somewhere else. Because, why? Because this company that I originally ordered from had everything on back order. Then I called them about last week because I really needed to get some new equipment in here. And I go and I call them up and I say, well, what's going on with my order? So I give them the order number and everything else. And they go, well, we're still waiting. It's the headsets. I said, well, look, I have 2 new headsets. I have new microphones. I don't need either one of them. Can you please send me my mixer? Well, sir, due that it was a bundle package, we really can't do that. Now, let me ask you this. You know, there's competition everywhere for everything anymore, whether it's buying equipment, audio equipment, digital TV equipment, any kind of equipment. There is always some kind of competition out there for all of this. All right. Why couldn't this lady say, okay, look, I'll send you the mixer. I'll knock the price down. You don't need the combo package. I'll help you that way. Nothing. Didn't bother to help me, none whatsoever, but then expects my business. Okay. This is what I'm trying to put down to everyone here on this program with this. All right. Learn some of the lessons that I've learned. All right. I have 35 years of customer service experience. My wife had 32. All right. Together we have close to 80 years. Okay. We've seen it all. I've seen it all. But this nowadays, and it boils back to last year's laziness and this year's nobody cares themes that I have for this show. All right. And the thing is that, all right, this is a prime example of nobody cares. That lady could have said to me, okay, look, let me talk to my boss. Let me see if I can talk to my manager, my supervisor, and let's see if we can get some things switched around here. She didn't even bother at all to even try anything. So guess what she did? Lost a customer. All right. And that is exactly what more people need to do. All right. In today's society, which I believe people are broke because they're lazy. That's one thing. And I don't want to hear no more excuses about this, that, and whatever. I don't want to hear about COVID. I don't want to hear about nothing. All right. All that's over. Okay. There's jobs out there galore. The inflation is terrible. And we have all these jobs out there and nobody was still nobody wants to work. And what I can't figure out and what a lot of other people can't figure out is where is everyone getting this money at? Where are they getting their money to live? And I just found out from someone that a lot of people now have moved back in with their parents during COVID because they couldn't afford their apartment. And they're getting so used to being at home. And their parents say, well, you know, it's good that you're here. So why should we charge you any rent? And that's what's going on in this country. Look at our kids these days. All right. Well, let's get back to this. Here is a prime example of laziness and customer service. And here's another prime example of what I said, nobody cares. Because if this lady cared about me as a customer and getting me back as a customer because I've ordered from this company before, all right, this lady would have said to me, I'll see what I can do to work on this order. Nothing. She said, oh, well, you can cancel the whole order. Okay, maybe I'll do that since we're going to do this. Okay, maybe I'll do that. All right. I took my mom out for Mother's Day. Friday, we went out. We went out to a place out in Butler, and I'm not going to mention any names, but we went and ate at a restaurant out in Butler. My mom likes to ride. My mom likes to go out there. So we went out to this restaurant. We went on Friday. And you're probably saying to me, well, Ralph, why'd you go on Friday? Well, because you know why? Because Ralph has common sense. And the reason I went on Friday was because I'm not sitting around waiting for 2 hours to get a seat. Okay. And the restaurant that I wanted to take her to, they were booked up since last December, already for Mother's Day. All right. Some of the places that I originally wanted to take my mother to were booked up already. And if you don't make a reservation, God help you, if you go to anywhere and try to, what they say, try to take your mom out, forget about it. It's over. Okay. So I decided to beat the traffic, to beat the nonsense, and not to have to deal with it. I decided to take my mother out on Friday night. And, I don't see any problem with that. It's a thought that counts. All right. My mom was happy with it anyway. And she agreed that that was the thing to do. Okay. All right. I don't want to be sitting around waiting 2 hours to get a seat somewhere at some restaurant. And the one other restaurant that I wanted to take her to is no longer open anymore. Why? Because nobody wants to work. Okay. Nobody wants to work. So all these restaurants just close down and you don't care. Nobody cares. Because if someone did, they would go to work. But they don't. So business just shuts down. Your favorite restaurant shuts down. Your favorite store closes early. You complain, but then you're the cause of the problem and you won't rectify it. That's the way I see it tonight with this. All right. So there's my life story for this week. But I have some stuff coming up later on that's going to blow your socks. I had to take a best friend of mine also too this week. He had to go get a car. So I took him to go get a car. And we're driving around. We're going all these different places. And here's the thing that bothers me about this. I have not ever known Byrider to turn people down. Okay. I've had to deal with Byrider 2 times in my life, formerly known as JD Byrider. Okay. And I have had to deal with them, all right, twice in my life because I had to. Okay. And I don't understand what the problem with Byrider is. They have nice cars. They give you 10 free oil changes. They give you a discount on labor on repairs if your warranty's out. Okay. And after the 10 free oil changes, you pay $10 for an oil change. $10. You know how much oil changes are these days? They're like 80, 90, $100 in some places. All right. Unless you go to Monroe and they try to rip you over the coals. All right. I've had dealings with Monroe where they've gone, oh, you need this, you need that, you need this, you need that. You know what I'm saying? I've had that problem. Okay. So here we are once again, something like this. And then when I talked to the guy that sold me my vehicle, he said, Ralph, you're one of the few people that get your oil changed on time here. He says, we have people that actually blow their motors after their 10 oil changes because they think it's too expensive to pay $10 for an oil change. Why? Because you're spending too much money on booze, you're spending too much money smoking pot, and you're spending too much money on gambling. Okay? So I take my friend to Byrider. The guy turned him down. I have never in my life, my dealings with Byrider, had ever seen them turn anyone down for a vehicle. Okay? And he was having issues with a few other places that shocked me as well. All right? There are these places that advertise, well, you give me $500 down and you could drive out of here with a car. Well, he gave him $500 down and he didn't drive out with a car. Okay? So what is going on with the situation with financing a car? So finally I get him to a drive time. Okay? Drive time took very good care of him. Very good care. All right? And it was my pleasure to be able to take him to go get his car so that he would have a vehicle. My best friend. I felt bad for him. All right? I helped him out. Okay? I'm not like some other people out here in this country today that don't help anybody. They don't even help their friends. They'll screw you over before they'll help you. Okay? And that's exactly what goes on. All right? So, drive time. My suggestion to you is if you want to finance a car, go to Drive Time. They're for real. Okay? Byrider, something's wrong here because Byrider has never, ever, to my knowledge, and I've sent people to Byrider, and I know some people who have gone to JD Byrider that had way worse credit than me. I've never seen them turn anyone down. Okay? And you know what it is? It's the situation with our bank situation. Everybody's panicking out here about this bank problem, about this inflation issue. All right? Everybody is panicking. And that is why, and the interest rates keep going up. So the banks are going, well, we can get away with this, and our president does absolutely nothing. Okay? He doesn't step in and say, okay, here it is, but instead he gives more money to Ukraine. All right? But I wanted to bring that up tonight as well, here on The Way I See It. Every Monday night, 7 p.m. here on our 4 platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. I want to thank those who are watching currently. Tell your friend, tell your cousin, tell someone about this as well. All right. I want to talk another thing. Speaking of cars and finances, I have a bunch of key topics here, including I want to get into it about the election. Because a couple things happened to me over the last week involving the election. All right. But first, speaking while we're on cars and financing, my friend, the same guy that I took to go get a car, his aunt died, and his car was in his aunt's name. Okay. And what had happened was his aunt passed away. Somebody, the car dealership, forgot to do the paperwork on time to transfer everything from out of his aunt's name, because she's deceased, okay, into his name. So what does GMAC do? They just come and get his car. They don't even tell him. Okay. He gives them $700. He was behind 2 months on his payment. It was $350 each. So he was behind. He paid them. A week later, they came and got his vehicle. Didn't tell him. Didn't say, we're coming to get it. There's a problem here. Nothing. Okay. So what had happened was they went ahead and I guess they put the word out there to the state police, and he had gotten pulled over by the state, or state police pulled over to help him. He was on the side of the road for a flat tire. Okay. And what had happened was state police pulled over, and I guess they drew up his license plate number. It was on their little radar there. So they decided, well, you know what? We're going to call GMAC and say, look, we've pulled him over. We know where he is and all this and that, whatever. Okay. So here come to find out that there's people out there who, everybody's looking to do a scam on somebody, everyone. And that's exactly what happens. So what's happening is he goes ahead and he does a scam. Okay. And somebody has been taking deaf people's and leaving their name on there and taking off the GPS systems that the finance companies put on these cars. And what they're doing is they're taking them off, taking the vehicle, and they're either doing it, using it for themselves or selling it. Okay. And screwing the finance company. You can thank those people for why we have what we have with these finance companies. So they went ahead and they did this to him. Okay. Do you know they had the audacity to call him up today and tell him he owes them $1,800 for coming over to pick up the car? And he said, well, what about my $700 I paid you? And you didn't say nothing about that. But you're going to come repo my car because and then the car dealership, who didn't do the paperwork properly or whatever, something got fouled up with the paperwork, and they went ahead and didn't turn it into the finance company, and the finance company got mad and angry because they had to keep waiting for their paperwork and decided to just come over and take his car. All right. This is where we are today with these finance companies. And GMAC is the worst. They have to be. For them to do this, they have to be the worst. And then to go ahead and charge my friend $1,800 and then wouldn't take the $700 off that he paid them. All right. That tonight is the way I see it. I wanted to let everyone know about that. Later on, we have a top 10 coming up. We'll have that as well. But the key topics tonight, first, we're going to talk about the Ligonier Valley Police Department. All right. The Ligonier Valley Police Department is having their police chief had to step down. The law has come in and they're looking all over the place in regards to some stuff that has gone on there. Council didn't know nothing about this. The investigation is ongoing. And now Ligonier doesn't have a police chief. All right. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know of anything, but I do know that Ligonier doesn't have a police chief now. Okay. That's the way I see it tonight. Next, I want to talk about this Pine Richland thing. And, last week I forgot to talk about this because sometimes I get spared in the moment on a certain subject and forget some things. All right. I wanted to tell you exactly why I thought that they were spray painting these school board members' campaign signs. And I'll tell you what my thoughts were on it, but I was wrong. All right. I, unlike other media people in this town, will admit when I'm wrong. And I was wrong. Okay. I thought they were doing it because these are the same school board members who got rid of Coach K, the old football coach, Eric Kazarowski. All right. They ran him out. He's now the head coach out at Mars Area High School. They ran him out of town at Pine Richland. Then they go and they hire another coach, and he didn't make it because of health issues. Okay. And now they got John Ladon over there, the former head coach at Penn Hills at Pine Richland. All right. So Coach K went out, filed a lawsuit, did all that. We all know how that all went down. I blasted the school board for that on this program. All right. The two members that are running for school board were on when this all happened. So I thought, well, maybe some unhappy old football players or somebody that was unhappy just decided to go around and spray paint their campaign signs. Well, here it involves a woman who went with one of the school board members, okay, that's running for office, and she was unhappy or didn't like something he did or whatever, I guess, in their relationship. And what had happened was they went ahead and spray painted the signs. So they had to put new ones up, okay? Well, now, as I mentioned in my blast segment, they're in trouble. The police have camera footage. They know who it is, okay, and they're going to get him. And this person who has done this has already gone on and gotten a lawyer. All right. So we're going to find out where this goes. All right. And that's the way I see it tonight. Okay. Next, the health department closing restaurants. I got to tell you what, the health department was busy this week, everyone. And let me explain why. Boston Market up in Green Tree was boarded up. Their violations were so bad, they boarded the place up and shut it down. I blasted them last week because they didn't close down Mia Pizza out in Baum Boulevard. And people could get sick because they were involved in some violations. Just shut them down. All right, but they didn't. Boston Market, Long John Silver's in Scott Township. Sulfuric acid, backed up sewer, stinks. All right, backed up sewer drainage, raw sewage, draining right into the restaurant. Shut it down. Okay. And then finally, they did decide to shut Mia Pizza down. Why didn't you just shut it down in the first place? Okay. I'll tell you what, there's restaurants out here. And you know what? Boston Market, I'm glad this happened to them up in Green Tree. About 2 years ago, the COVID year, 2020, I believe it was, they had Thanksgiving meal that they were ready to prepare, that they were supposed to prepare for people. People order Thanksgiving meals from, Boston Market and different places and have them delivered or whatever. Well, Boston Market showed up there for Thanksgiving. I guess the bosses showed up or whoever showed up, okay? And then what happened was they went ahead and they showed up for that to cook and do whatever had to be done. Their employees did not show up. Screwed over all these people who had these reservations for Thanksgiving meals. These people never got their food. So now they're having health violations. Shady Sides, Boston Market, has had health violations. They're still open. I found out from someone who went over there and bought food, okay? And I overheard this conversation when I was at my doctor's office a few weeks back, that the one in Shady Side was serving food in individual, styrofoam things instead of putting them on the plates, the takeout plates and everything else, okay? So they had like the meatloaf in one, they had the macaroni and cheese in the other, or the mashed potatoes or whatever. And then get this. They said they haven't had mashed potatoes in 2 months. Mashed potatoes in 2 months. When you go to a Boston Market, one of their great things there is their macaroni and cheese, their spinach souffle, and their mashed potatoes. And I've never had an issue with their chicken or meatloaf. Okay? But this one, the one in Shady Side lately has been bad. I've eaten there myself. Never had a problem until recently. And now the one out in Green Tree is boarded up. The health department said it was so bad they boarded it up and closed it down. Okay? That tonight is the way I see it on them. The e-scooters. Get this, in Harrisburg, they want the public to do the same thing they did here about those e-scooters from from that scooter company. And I don't know if you notice or not, but I have to go over to the north side whenever I go to record The Way I See It, and I record Sports Corner, or I do my live Sports Corner show once a month. It just so happens, and I don't care if they say anything, okay? They're at 1300 Western Avenue, and they're in the suite next to PCTV, all right? The scooter company. My wife went up there with a list of places where the scooters are, banged on there, tapped on their door, okay? And what do? They go and tell us to call 311, all right? So I call 311. I tell them where all these scooters are and everything else according to the list. I stopped doing it because in my eyes, if I'm banging on your door and I'm looking for you to do, see, this again is where we are here. Pass the buck, okay? Not only just pass the buck, but I'm talking about laziness and I'm talking about nobody cares. That's the way I see it on that tonight. Downtown. Same old story downtown, all right? But my question is, all right, where is Larry Sherrod? Well, I found out where Larry Sherrod is, our new police chief. All right. He's still moving out of Florida or wherever it is he was living in Fort Lauderdale, still moving out. Okay. And then I find out that he is a referee, and he was doing referee in some games. I don't know what he referees. I think it's basketball, and I'm not sure who he works for. I don't know if he works for the NCAA or if he works for NBA basketball. But the new police chief for the city of Pittsburgh here happens to be that person. All right. His name is Larry Sherrod. Now, Larry's been here before. He was a lieutenant, and then he worked his way up to assistant chief. And then he took the chief's job in Fort Lauderdale, just like Lando, the one that also wanted to be chief here. He's the chief in the place somewhere in Maryland. Okay. And I'm glad they didn't hire that guy from Boise, Idaho. All right. I like Larry Sherrod. I think he's a good guy. I think he's going to be a great chief. But my question is, why isn't he working? Well, I found out what's going on. He has not been approved yet by city council. He's supposed to meet with them last week. Where that went, nobody knows. He's meeting with them on Thursday. Okay? Thursday, he's meeting with them this week. He's going to meet with city council at a hearing, and the public is invited. You're allowed to go down and make your statements or questions or whatever, and you'll get the same ones that go down there all the time. Got the guy that lives up here in Allentown here. He looks like a dejected Alice Cooper. Okay, he goes down there and makes his comments, and you got the lady from the Hill District who makes her comments as well. And you know what? I have nothing to say bad about her because she makes compliments about what I've said. All right. And I speak at city council myself. I don't know if it does any good because they haven't done anything of any of the ideas I've given them. So I just feel that sometimes you waste your time going to even talk to them. But I talk to them online so I could stay here and I don't have to go down there and deal with the downtown area. Until they make it safe, I really don't feel like going downtown. All right. I'm going to go down and visit a few people downtown, but that's it. I'm getting in, I'm getting out. Okay. All right. Because downtown's not safe. And until the county, our new county executive, whoever that may be, okay, and that won't be until January of next year. And we still have to deal with Richie Fitz. All right. And I found some interesting stuff out here. You know, in case you're not aware, I had Bethany Hallam on this program a few weeks back. I had Philip Roberts on this program too. And I almost had Dave Fawcett for tonight. Okay. Sarah Honorado, on the other hand, I was going to get into this later, but I'll get into this now since we're talking about this stuff. Sarah Honorado is now going around bad-mouthing and trashing John Weinstein. She's calling him Weinstein. It's Weinstein. Okay. Picking on Michael Lamb. Hasn't picked on Dave Fawcett. All right. You know, Sarah Honorado is one of those people who don't want fracking, who wants to defund the police. And she hasn't passed a bill at all since she's been a state rep for the last 4 years. That I know is a fact. Okay. All right. I know for a fact, too, that Rich Fitzgerald doesn't get along with Ed Gainey. I'm actually quite surprised because I found I was at Ed Gainey's campaign picnic when he was running for mayor. My wife and I went. All right. And what had happened was I was there and I saw Rich Fitzgerald there shaking hands with everybody, acting like he was Ed Gainey's buddy. And now I come to find out he was only there because Ed Gainey was the man for mayor. And he knew it. Okay. All right. I know Rich is not stupid. He has a multi-million-dollar business. I know he's not dumb. But what I'm saying to you is this. All for that, he went to that picnic. But technically, he doesn't get along with Ed Gainey. That's why things downtown aren't working right between the county and the city. And see, a lot of people don't know that, but I do. You want to know why? Because I have sources. I got some new sources and I got some old sources. But some of my new sources have told me this, and it's really sad. Why do you think Schumann Center isn't open yet? Because he doesn't care. He's on his way out. Why should he care? Rich Fitzgerald. This is it for him. He can't run again. He's already ran for three terms as county executive. So now we have John Weinstein. We have Dave Fawcett, who I almost had on this program tonight. Okay. But Sarah Anarado, okay, her campaign wouldn't even come on this program. I reached out to her campaign person when she was starting to run back in months ago. So I gave him copies of my show like he asked for. And, you know, nothing's easy anymore. You can't get guests on a show like that sometimes. They want to see shows. They want your whole life story. They want this, that, and whatever. And they don't want to be on because I ask tough questions. I might be what they call small time around here, but I'm big time when it comes to tough questions. And I don't care if I'm your friend or not. I'm going to ask you tough questions on this program. All right? And I will ask you tough questions because that's the way I think an interview should go. And if you don't like it because I ask you tough questions, then shame on you. All right? But the bottom line of all this is, okay, I am tired of this. I'm tired of being played with some of these people. Honorado's people. And then today, they text me 4 times asking me to vote for her. So finally, after the 4th time of being harassed by her campaign people, I explain why I'm not voting for her. First of all, she's against fracking, which has helped something. Okay, and in case you weren't aware, I was on Marty Griffin's program last week, and he's a fan of the show here on KDK Radio. And I was on the show talking about how fracking benefits something. All right, I'm affiliated with a Bible camp up in Hickory, Pennsylvania. They're on top of some of natural gas lines. This camp was broke, literally ready to shut down. The Lutheran church couldn't support it. So they came up with some ideas to try to get things, and it's worked. But they still were not at that point where they could afford to fix the camp or anything. All right? They barely could survive. All of a sudden, they got blessed. Here comes Marcellus Shale. Here comes natural gas drilling. Range Resources drilled on the property. Because of them letting Range Resources drill on the property, Range Resources has helped them financially. They have helped them build buildings. They have created roads and dug roads all over the entire camp. They hooked them up with the DEP, and the DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, or whomever it is that comes in and drudges lakes, they came in and drudged the lake for them for free. Drudged it for free. And Range Resources paid for it. Range Resources also paid for construction of new buildings. Range Resources helped this camp out, and they still help them out. Okay? If it wasn't for Range Resources and it wasn't for natural gas drilling, this camp would not be able to provide summer camp for urban kids. And a lot of the kids that go to that camp go there from urban areas. Okay? They go there for math camp. They go there for all kinds of different camps, reading, math. And they also have a regular camp where you go there, you go fishing, you go boating, you go swimming, and you do all those activities as well when you're there for the other camps, but they add in math and reading. Okay. All right. There's rock climbing. There's all kinds of stuff. You get some spiritual things going on there too, because it's a Bible camp. All right. And it's no longer just a Lutheran church anymore. They've opened it up to the general public by doing this. All right. So if you're a mother out there that sends your kid to this camp, and this camp has all these nice, beautiful, brand new buildings because of Range Resources, what are you doing? They helped them because they were using well water, and the well kept running out and going dry all the time, and they had to keep having it hauled in by a water truck. They paid and built them a new waterworks that sterilized the water, and the water is not contaminated. And they have their own building, and they pump their own water. They got their own electricity now. Why? Because of Range Resources. And if it wasn't for natural gas drilling and fracking at the airport would be bankrupt. All right? There's a lot of good things that go on with fracking. Okay? It can help communities build parks, build brand new, cut property taxes down by being able to build without having to go into tax money. You see what I'm getting at? But no, we got people like Sarah Honorado who are out here complaining and moaning and groaning and bitching about all this stuff about fracking and green and all this and that. But Sarah, let's forget about the fact that we have violence going on all across our city and across this county. We have a gang in the Mon Valley that just brought the county council's attention, who claimed they didn't know nothing about this. All right. And somebody should be fired, because this has been known for years about this Mon Valley youth gang that's running all over the place, all over the waterfront, all over Kennywood, all over everywhere in the Mon Valley, doing destructive things and shooting and killing people and doing stuff. Why wasn't this taken down? Okay, this gang. Sarah Honorado, instead of fighting crime, she wants to defund the police. And don't tell me that's not the truth, Sarah, because I heard it was. I heard you said it. I heard you're with all them other ones that want to defund the police, all the ones that want to get rid of the police but again, I steal from you, and I steal from Summer Lee, and I still have from all these other people that want to do this. Haven't heard from you as to what your plan is without them. What's your plan without them? I haven't received one email, one comment, or anyone that could tell me what they would do if the police were to be defunded. I don't think anyone would know what to do. Okay? So what I'm saying to you is this. Don't sit there and bitch about something like this. Look at the cracker plant out in Beaver County. They're bitching about that too. They wanted it there. They even said that they wanted it there so bad to create the jobs that were missing in Beaver County. And now they want to get rid of it because, it's causing problems in our community. Really? Well, why were you the one who went ahead and voted for it so your property taxes could be lower? But then you go ahead and now you're complaining and you want it out. Okay? Do you realize how many jobs are lost if fracking goes? This state has heard it enough with job losses because of stupid ideas and stupid stuff from politicians that don't have no idea what they're doing. And we continue to reelect the same ones over and over and over again. And now we have to have a new county executive. And do you think I want Sarah Honorado? No. And if you ask my personal opinion, the two that I'm looking for is Weinstein or Dave Fawcett. Why? Because them two have said the following. I'm here to help with affordable housing and safety, public safety, and jobs. Michael Lamb wants to give everybody free education. No, fine, I don't have a problem with that. But I haven't heard him say anything at all about what he plans to do about this violence problem in this county. Okay? Sarah Honorado is another one who supported closing down Schumann Center, who supported not reopening Schumann Center. Now, I had Bethany Hallam on this program here and on my TV show. The new one will be coming out shortly on PCTV. All right. And I got to tell you, Bethany Hallam told me this. She wants a Schumann Center. But what she wants it for is not just to put kids in prison or in jail or whatever. She wants them to have programs inside that they can get out of jail and not come back. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's logic. Okay? Our county executive has let this jail get out of control down there and done nothing to fix it. Can't get medical attention, roaches in the food. I've mentioned this many times. Bethany Hallam's on the jail board. She told me it's Rich Fitzgerald who doesn't care about any of this stuff. I questioned him on Paul Zeiss's show on KDK. I said, Rich, what are you planning? Since you won't come on my show here, okay, and explain yourself, because you know I'm going to ask you tough questions. I asked him what he plans to do about Schumann Center, and he started reading me the Riot Act. He starts saying, well, we need to make sure that this is right, and that's right, and this is right, and that's right, and the state law, and this, that, and whatever, and the county this, and the county that. That ain't the case. And I want you to watch my TV show, because Bethany Hallam tells me everything that Rich Fitzgerald said about what to do with Schumann Center, and he didn't even care. He doesn't care that kids are going around shooting people. Because if he did, he would have done something about Schumann Center a long time ago. When the county was or closed it down, they had the chance to keep it open, but they didn't want to follow state regulations, and the state shut it down. And they didn't care. All right. Bethany Hallam toured the place the day after she was on my podcast. And when I asked her on the TV show exactly what had happened on her tour, she said there's nothing wrong with that facility. You want to know what the county released, what Rich Fitzgerald released? He said that there was a whole bunch of problems with that place. And that's not the case, because county council toured it. Even the president of county council said we can fix this place. It only needs a little bit of fine tuning. Okay. They had a facilities group that privatizes and does this. But the county don't want to take responsibility for this, and they want to privatize it. That's not the answer. The answer is take responsibility for this. Let the people who had jobs there and worked there for 20 years or whatever years they worked there and enjoyed their job, despite the fact they had to put up with these juveniles, all right, because the parents don't know how to take care of their kids, all right? And you let them go, they don't have a job because you don't want to mess with Schumann Center. So when you go vote for county executive tomorrow, think about what I just told you, okay? Go ahead, vote for Sarah Honorado. Go ahead. You'll lose more jobs than you'll gain. Okay? And I have my answer to affordable housing. This building alone, where I live right now, there's 300 people on a waiting list to get in here. The manager here doesn't evict anybody. All I get is excuses from housing about evicting people. And I don't want to hear no more excuses. And I'm done with this. I don't want to hear no more excuses. I'm tired of it. I'm taking it further. My own friend Mayor Ed Gainey still hasn't released that report yet. Okay. So what I'm saying to you is this, and that is that, here we are with this problem too. Okay. What are we going to do about affordable housing? You want affordable housing? Get rid of the clowns that are in this building that are causing problems, smoking pot, doing all kinds of other things around here. Okay. And the interesting part about this is I heard a rumor, and I don't know if it's true, but I keep hearing it and hearing it and hearing it, that Chief of Staff Jake Wheatley, the mayor's chief of staff's mother, lives in this building. If that's the case, then why doesn't he know what's going on in here? You catch what I'm saying? My wife's already been assaulted twice in this building. I've been verbally harassed and threatened. My car has been keyed and a whole bunch of stuff going on here. I've had packages stolen, and not one person's been evicted. Not one. But you have 300 people on a waiting list. You claim you don't have enough affordable housing. Instead of keep trying to build more, why don't you fill in the gaps with people that are looking for homes on that waiting list and get rid of some of these knuckleheads who don't deserve it? If this is supposed to be a privilege, then why isn't this Do you see what I'm getting at here, everybody? Do you understand what I'm saying about affordable housing? All right. That's my solution to it. Get rid of the knuckleheads and get them out of here. The ones that cause problems, the ones that are always going to jail, the ones that make problems for everybody else in this building. You want to see how fast you'll have enough affordable housing? But no, Housing Authority, City of Pittsburgh is, you can't touch them. Nobody wants to touch them. Nobody wants to deal with it. Why? I don't know. Excuse me. I keep hearing about, oh, it's HUD laws. Well, why would HUD have laws to where you can't evict people? Why would HUD have laws to where you can appeal 3 times before you get evicted? Yeah. All right. That's the way I see it tonight about the election for county executive. Next, I want to talk about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I don't like to sit here and talk about the church. Last week, I blasted the Catholic Church for lying to everybody in Bloomfield. Tonight, I'm getting on the Mormon Church. And I know what you're saying, Ralph, don't pick on the Mormons. They mean well. Okay. You know, my pastor, who's retired now from my church, he said to me once when I was first coming into the church and I was becoming a new member, he said there are certain different religions like that and several others that have their way of practicing things. And that's fine. The Mormons have their beliefs. And they make millions and billions of dollars. So I watched the 60 Minutes report last night. And I got to tell you, this is disturbing. I don't really watch 60 Minutes. I haven't for a while. Okay. But this story interests me. And it was about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Do you know they have a hedge fund? Not only do they have a hedge fund, they have millions and billions of dollars that they get off of their members by forcing them to pay 10% of what they have in earnings. So let's say, for instance, and I'm going to use this as an example, you make $60,000 a year. Do you know you got to give them $6,000 every year? $6,000 a year? Are you kidding me? So at one time, and I'm going to admit this, I checked out the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And when I found out they were going to take 10% of money out of my account for tithes. Now, see, tithes in the church, and I give my tithes, should be the tithes amount of money that I can afford that I want to give. Not you take it from me. Okay? All right? So that is what they're doing there. And they're making billions and billions of dollars doing it through a hedge fund. So they had a gentleman on, I think his last name was Neiman or something, or Newman or whatever. And he was talking about this last night. And he exposed them. He actually put it out there about what the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was doing. Okay? So he goes and he puts it out there. And he tells everybody what's going on. And he's on 60 Minutes here getting interviewed about this. And when they interviewed the president or the bishop or the archbishop or whatever this person is that's involved with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, their headquarters is in Salt Lake City, Utah. As you know, Utah is a Mormon state. Okay? So with them being a Mormon state, all right, they... like they close everything down on Sundays. Mormon people own the Chick-fil-A's. That's why they're closed on Sundays. But the next time you hear about Mormons in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, why don't you take a look at that interview on 60 Minutes last night? Because it was rather disturbing to me. And I almost joined that. I was going there and I was going to my other church. The Mormons wanted me to stay with them. I told them, no, I'm still going to go to my other church. I'm loyal to them too. They didn't like that. They have this attitude and they walk around like their doo-doo don't stink. I don't like people like that. Okay? Especially when you're connected with the Lord. Because no one should be doing that when you're connected with the Lord. But that's exactly the way they do it. And they have these kids and these guys that walk around with these shirts, white shirts on, and they're trying to sell you on the Book of Mormon. I have it. Okay. They claim, and I don't know if it's true again, that this gentleman who is a Mormon or who started the Mormon faith saw that Jesus and John the Baptist came down and handed him a book that was supposed to be beyond the New Testament. All right. My pastor tells me that's not the case. What you see is what you got. But they think that there's another book that belongs to Jesus Christ that was released. That's what the Mormon faith believes. And that's fine. Like my pastor said, they have a right to believe anything they want to believe or anything that they want to put out there. And that's what some people do. But that is what they're doing here. My advice to you is, if you are in the Mormon faith, take a look at your checkbook. Okay? Think about what that report does. And maybe you're thinking, well, this guy's full of baloney. No, he's not full of baloney. I watched the interview. He's serious about this. He was right in the thick of it. And 60 Minutes, they don't play games. Their interviews are decent. Okay? They don't hide the truth. They don't have to. That's why they're so good at what they do. But as I mentioned before, I really don't get into 60 Minutes very much. But when I heard that the previews for that this was on, I actually watched it. I wasn't interested about sharks in the sea. I wasn't interested about that. That was the story afterwards. But check it out, because maybe you'll think twice about joining the Mormon faith when you find out what they make and how what they do to their members. And it's the truth, because I was involved in it. When they came to me and said, oh, give us your financial information, we want to take 10% of what you make out of your money. No. I give to the church. I give what I want to give or what I can give. You're not going to steal from me when I don't want. No, I'm not giving you authorization to steal from me. Okay? That's the way I see it tonight. All right. Some small topics tonight. Country singer Morgan Wallen had to cancel his 2 shows in June here in Pittsburgh, but he brought them back for August 30th and 31st. So if you have tickets for the June shows, they will be honored. All right. All right. Next, cruise ship shutdown for sanitation problems. This is why I don't go on cruise ships, everyone. This is why I refuse. I've already been offered cruise ship trips, and I told them to eat it because I don't want it. Okay? That's the way I see it tonight about that. Next, Fox is canceling Fantasy Island. Bad ratings. A lot of these broadcast companies this year, because of, I guess, advertising has gone down, and it has for a while. They're cutting out shows when the ratings are bad. So I guess the reboot of Fantasy Island is no good. I'm hearing The Equalizer could go next, and SWAT's done. So any of you folks out there who like these programs, you better start watching them because they're going bye-byes. All right, Bed Bath & Beyond, most of them, and some of the inside malls across the country are becoming pickleball courts, places where you can go play pickleball. Pickleball has become a popular sport. Okay? That's the way I see it tonight with that. MTV is shutting their MTV News down. Wow. A lot of entertainment news. Wow. That's the way I see it. All right, next. Ed Farrell, former president of the Tribune Review Publications, passed away, 84 years old. Sad to hear about that, because the Tribune Review happens to be a decent paper, despite the fact that they no longer do a Pittsburgh part. They still do their Greensburg portion of the paper, and they still have their website. All right, we're going to get in our top 10 here, and then I have something I want to talk about tonight before we go real quick. All right. Top 10 states to retire that retirees are leaving. All right, you ready? Number 10, Massachusetts. All right, number 9, Nevada. They say it's too hot down there. Some of these senior citizens, the health care is not great. Why do you think Pittsburgh still has the second highest senior citizen population in the entire United States behind Dade County, Florida? Because of the hospitals here and the medical stuff. A lot of the elderly people are leaving, older senior citizens, retirees, they're leaving. They don't want that heat anymore out in Nevada. Then if you live up in the northern part, you got to put up with the snow. All right. Iowa. They're leaving Iowa. Iowa's not a bad little state. Again, cold weather and some other obstacles. New Jersey, well, of course, crime in New Jersey isn't the greatest, or is the problem, and they haven't fixed it. West Virginia. West Virginia is a nice state to retire in, they tell me, but they're leaving because of lack of a lot of things. Maine, number 5. Wow. I know a lot of people have retired to Maine. Crazy, isn't it? Virginia, number 4. All right. Virginia has high humidity and high taxes. Number 3, Utah. The Mormon state. Everything's closed on Sunday. Take it from there. Number 2, Maryland. Maryland's a high tax state. Number 1, Delaware. Who would have thought Delaware? You know, Delaware's a nice place to live, I'm told. Our so-called president has our president currently has his house there or whatever. He's from there as well. All right. I want to talk about something tonight. I try to nab a sponsor for this program and the soon-to-be radio show June 20th. In case some of you are not aware, June 20th, Tuesday, 5 to 6 p.m., Smoking Jim Frazier and I, we do our Sports Corner show and our Talking Wrestling show on Wednesday. Well, the Sports Corner show that's on Tuesday night at 8:30 is being moved to radio. Every Tuesday night, 5 to 6 p.m., Beaver County Radio. 99.3 FM, 99.7 FM. AM 1230 and AM 1460. I want to go talk to Primanti Brothers about becoming a sponsor for my program. So I get this email back from their marketing person. I'm not going to mention the person's name. All right. They wanted to look at analytics of the station. Now, my advertising rates, everyone, are very affordable. So a small business like Harry's Market could advertise with me at a minimal cost. Okay. But Primanti's doesn't see it that way. Primanti's is worried about analytics. They're worried about this, that, and whatever. And I told the guy 4 times that my show wasn't starting until June 20th. Okay. I even offered him the opportunity to advertise on these podcasts and my 2 national shows on Blog Talk Radio. I'm not going to give you what the cost factor is, but let me tell you something right now. It's not that expensive. It's enough that Primanti Brothers can make the money back that they would pay me for advertising in one seating in one night at one of their restaurants. One big seating of about 20 people, you could probably, or more, or maybe 2 seatings maybe, or more than that. You can make the money what you're going to pay me to put your business on these programs. You can make it back in 2 days at Primanti's. They wanted analytics. I gave them the number of the GM and the program director over at Beaver County Radio. I guess they spoke to him. They got the analytics they wanted. So then they say, well, we needed to see what the show looks like. So I gave them copies of these. And then I told them, 4 times that the show wasn't coming on until June 20th on the radio. At this time, they can't do a partnership with me. Let me ask you something. What's so important about why you need to take a look at my show? I am offering you an opportunity not only to make money for yourself, but you're helping me out and you're helping my show out. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. Okay? If Primanti Brothers is going to be that petty for the millions of dollars that they make in this town. I feel bad for this town. And let me tell you something. If you go out tomorrow, you think about it when you go out to get that Primanti sandwich. About what did Primanti's do for the small guy like me? Okay? You think about that one time. Has Primanti Brothers ever done anything for anybody? Think about that once. The business that this entire region gives Primanti Brothers, and this is what they do to me. I've lived in this town my whole life. I've eaten Primanti sandwiches since I was little. I've given them business. I've sent business there. I've said many good things about Primanti Brothers. Oh, until just recently, I went down to the one on the south side, got a colossal fish sandwich, and it was nasty. Okay? So, go ahead, Primanti Brothers. Just go ahead and run your business and function the way you need to function. But if you're going to get that petty over this little bit of money that you got to pay, I hate this. I hate to have to work for you. I'd hate to be a manager and I need to order soap to clean my restaurant. Oh, we can't afford that. That's too expensive. What? At the dollar store's too expensive? You catch what I'm saying? I'm offering you the deal of a lifetime. And I offered it to Primanti's. They don't want it. They want to play games. They're worried about analytics, worrying about how many people listen to the radio station. Well, first of all, why don't you put your head together and figure it out? There's 4 stations, 2 AM, 2 FM, and they just bought Butler County Radio, or St. Barnabas Broadcasting. You catch what I'm saying? They have many stations all across their network. I'm going to be on Butler County's radio stations too because they have accumulated them and they're simulcasting everything. Primanti's are everywhere. They're in Beaver, they're in Mercer, they're in wherever. As much as I like Primanti Brothers, there'll be a cold day, and you know what, before you get at me to buy another sandwich. And I urge you not to eat ever again at another Primanti's. But you'll get these alcoholics that go there and drink and eat their sandwiches and enjoy it all. They're at Heinz Field, they're at Kennywood. They don't need me. They don't need the little guy like me. No. Not at all. A measly little amount of money for some big time advertising. And they acted like it was $1 million that they were paying me. And they ran me through all these hoops and all this other stuff to finally come up with the conclusion. After 4 times I told them that the radio show's not going on until June 20th. They want to see something of the radio show. It's going to be professional. I sent you these shows right here. What's the problem? For that little measly amount of money. This is what I had to go through. So I wasn't planning on doing this tonight, but I had to. Because you want to know what Primanti's did to me today? They ruined my day. They ruined it. Earlier today, I was in a bad mood. And one time I went to Judge Cashman's courtroom. Nothing that I did wrong. I was there supporting my ex-girlfriend's son who was in trouble with the law. You know what Judge Cashman said? He said, son, he said, today I'm in a good mood. And if I'm in a good mood, then that means it's going to be a great day for you. But if I'm in a bad mood, you're going to know about it. And you know what? I was in a bad mood today. And I had some situations today that have happened to me all at one time today. I was coming off a decent, relaxful weekend. All right. So here we are. Primanti Brothers decides they want to screw me out over and not give me what I asked for. A small fraction of what they pay other stations. A small fraction of what they do here. And that's right, Primanti Brothers. I'm bad-mouthing you on this program because you know why? This is my show. I can do whatever I want. Okay? And if you don't like it, that's too bad because you got what you wanted, nothing. All right? And I'm not saying I'm going to badmouth everybody that does this. But the way that it was presented to me acted like they were making a big issue over a small amount of money. And maybe that's good. That's good fiscal financial thing. Oh, we can't just waste a little bit of money there. Oh, yeah, that can be good. And when I asked them, I said, look, give me a break here. I'm just trying to get this thing going. They didn't appreciate it. Oh, we can't have a partnership at this time. Maybe in the future we'll renew it again. When? In 5 years? No, I don't have time to wait 5 years. Okay? So when you go, next time you go bite into your Permanis sandwich, you think about what I said. You think about what Permanis did to me, the little guy that's trying to get something going in broadcasting, that's trying to get his radio show on the radio because no one else would. Okay? And I told all the broadcast companies in this town, if you're not going to hire me, then I'll make my own way. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm not expecting it to be a honeymoon because it never is. Life is never a honeymoon. Okay? So remember, next time you go eat a Permani sandwich, think about what I said. If they're that petty about some little dinky little advertising money, I can imagine what they're about in their restaurants. Okay? Maybe they use food service ketchup instead of Heinz. Maybe they use some kind of cheap cleaning supplies that don't get the place clean. You ever think about that? If they're that cheap, and they make millions and millions of dollars and they're that cheap, just think about that for a minute before you go into another Permanis. Tonight, that is the way I see it. You want to have a great night. I'll talk with you tomorrow night for Sports Corner, 8:30 p.m. right here on our 4 platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. And don't forget about June 20th, Tuesday, June 20th, and every Tuesday after that, 5 to 6 p.m. Beaver County Radio, Sports Corner with myself and Smokin' Jim Frazier. That's right, I go radio. The Forgotten Son is no more. I felt like it today, though, with Permani Brothers. Have a great one. Good night. Thanks for watching. Be safe.